In 1968, I took a job with Clark College down in Atlanta, Georgia, and they had a training session that lasted for 8 weeks in a suburb of Boston. As I remember, we were at Tufts University. Some friends of mine who were really into music said to me, "Hey, Jim, we're going to hitchhike up to Woodstock, New York and go to this concert, and do you want to come along with us?" And I knew it was a kind of rainy weekend, and I wasn't that crazy to go, and I said, "No, you guys go ahead. I'm going to stay here." No one at the time thought that Woodstock was going to become the historical event it was. You know, before Facebook and Twitter, people just kind of told their friends, you know, "Hey, we're going to Woodstock." Nobody knew what was going to happen. The impact of Woodstock didn't have a profound effect on my life. But I'll tell you what did have a profound effect on my life. I took a job in Atlanta late in April of 1968, and as many of you will remember, it was April 4th, 1968, that Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated while visiting Montgomery, Alabama, to help the garbage collectors union. So because I had worked during the 60s in civil rights, the issue of civil rights and the struggle of African Americans in the United States was much more important to me than music. I think as we look back on the 60s, it wasn't a music festival. It was a civil rights struggle, and it was a struggle to end the war in Vietnam. And those issues were much more important to me than the music. Though I will admit that I've got plenty of Woodstock music on my iPod. Well, I was totally opposed to the war. War is a breakdown of human relations. It's a breakdown of diplomacy. The war was taking young men from this country to a country that had little or no interest to us. I always felt that the communist threat, particularly in Vietnam, was bogus. In 1959, when I was in high school, I was a great advocate of Fidel Castro. And, you know, we've had Castro offshore since 1960. What is that? That's 50 years, and we've been unable to change that regime. Certainly changing a regime in Asia was going to be difficult. So, you know, I was an anti-war protester. I campaigned against the war. I thought that the war was wrong, and just like weapons of mass destruction, the guys that Bush used to get us into Iraq, the Gulf of Tonkin and the supposed attack on one of our carriers was another put-up job. In Vietnam, we lost about 56,000 troops. The country has become unified. The great fear of a communist takeover never happened, and Vietnam on its own is rebuilding its economy. Let me think. Well, for one thing, I've always had a fairly strong anti-authoritarian streak. I think that the 60s confirmed in me that you can't always trust the leaders. Wars are expensive in terms of blood and treasure, and very seldom actually solve the problems that they create. World War I, of course, led to World War II. The treaty in World War II led to a split between Germany and East Germany and West Germany, which led to a very costly Cold War. Russia, as it added 22 Soviet Socialist republics, that empire lasted a very short time. Their wars of conquest lasted not so long. So in the first place, what I learned was that we need an effective and well-educated citizenry to ensure that we're not led down a road of deceit.